Lagos, the nation's commercial capital. This is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, it's work in progress as PEBEC's 120 days action plan reveals that some MDAs are still struggling with the implementation of the regulatory reforms of the current administration. At the same PEBEC event, Vice President Kashim Shettima scores public sector reforms high, says the project has achieved 80% collective success. After about 13 years of trial, the Supreme Court upholds the conviction of Mr. Francis Atuche, former managing director of the defunct bank PHB PLC. And NDLEA cracks down on drug peddlers and users in Kano, destroys substance worth about ₦1 billion.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's FX reserves rise for the fourth consecutive week to $34.14 billion.
On sports news tonight, El Kanemi Warriors will battle Abia Warriors for the CAF Confederation Cup ticket in Saturday's final of the President's Federation Cup in Oniko, here in Lagos.
And from the nation's capital, fire guts popular Abuja market, destroys goods, properties worth millions of naira. As traders count losses, seek government assistance.
And in international news from London, Americans have been reacting to the first televised presidential debate of the election campaign, where Joe Biden frequently appeared to stumble and lose his way.
Nigerians from all walks of life assembled today in the nation's capital for the presentation on the report for the regulatory reforms on the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Vice President Kashim Shettima says President Bola Tinubu's public sector reforms have achieved an 80% success rate. He made the announcement at the start of a 90-day regulatory reform accelerator involving various federal ministries, departments, and agencies. Speaking at the town hall meeting organized by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, in Abuja, he reiterated the president's commitment to significant reforms for Nigeria's progress. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports that a PEBEC report revealed that 10 out of 36 federal MDAs have fully implemented the key regulatory reform plan.
This town hall meeting at the banquet hall of the State House, Abuja, focuses on enhancing the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Attendees include Vice President Kashim Shettima, Governor Inuwa of Gombe State, ministers, heads of MDAs, and private sector players. The event begins with a report highlighting the performance of ministries, departments, and agencies in implementing the administration's regulatory reforms to ensure transparency and efficiency.
This particular data set will sit in the MDA performance ranking tab, and we'll start from the bottom. 4 of 36 MDAs achieved below 25% of activities. Now, 10 of 36 MDAs performed above 75%. I think this is quite commendable. Considering where we were at the end of 90 days, a lot of these agencies really doubled down and stepped up.
Our collective aspiration is that the reforms, along with the insights and learnings from this regulatory reform accelerator, will drive measurable impact for productivity and competitiveness across key sectors to improve the Nigerian business environment and support the economic initiatives of the government.
Some stakeholders here, however, believe there are still bottlenecks that need to be addressed.
Presently, the online platform that we use for filing and getting our certificates is totally down.
What is the framework for effective collaboration and tracking to see that the reforms that are happening at the national level are going to sub-national level, especially the states?
The special advisor to the president on PEBEC, Mrs. Jumoke Oduwole, believes that addressing the trust deficit between the government and the private sector is vital.
Yes, to be candid, there are a lot of turf wars Yes, to be candid, there's room for a lot more collaboration, which is why it takes presidential and very high level, the cabinet intervention, to make sure that the boots on the ground, the public officials and civil servants understand the importance of not being a gatekeeper, of collaborating and ensuring that we deliver on the cost. We bring down the cost of doing business in Nigeria. We bring down the time it takes to do business, and we make sure that it's transparent doing business in Nigeria.
While urging heads of MDAs to sustain the tempo, Vice President Shettima restates President Tinubu's commitment towards addressing the economic challenges in the country.
No matter the depth of the reforms we introduce, our goals will remain out of reach unless our ministers and their ministries, departments and heads of parastatals and agencies of government function at their base and align seamlessly with our agenda. I am therefore excited to share that our public sector reforms have achieved a collective score of over 80% at the beginning of the 90-day regulatory reform accelerator. I want to thank our ministers and heads of parastatals for doing an awesome job.
The key takeaway from this meeting is that achieving a higher ranking in ease of doing business in Nigeria requires collective effort from all stakeholders. From the presidential villa, Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, Vice President Kashim Shettima is rallying support for President Bola Tinubu, asking Nigerians to be patient with him because leadership is not an easy task. He also says the president and his team are focused on making Nigeria a lot better for its citizens.
We have never had it so good in terms of leadership. The president means well for the nation. And most importantly, he is imbued with the skill set to drive change and progress in this country. I can tell you with all sense of confidence that the president we have now is a man of ideas who is robustly imbued with the capacity. Leadership is about competence. We are not asking you not to question the eligibility of your president's condition, but there is this mischievous fixation on the president's health status. We are not preparing for the Olympics, but an institution that builds on the superiority of ideas. But idea, to put it to you, that the hallmark of true leadership is not the ability to lift a bag of cement, but the capacity to come up with robust ideas to solve a nation's problems. So this is a man that we need to all rally around. We need to support. Yes, our economy is going through turbulence, but is it confined to Nigeria alone? Let's talk a global picture. Is any economy immune from the challenges of the times? So I urge you to be fair to this poor man.
So let's take it to the judiciary now, where after about 13 years of trial, the Supreme Court today upheld the conviction of the former managing director of the defunct bank PHP PLC, Mr. Francis Atuche. In the unanimous judgment read by Justice Moore Adumain, the Apex Court held that the appellant, Francis Atuche, had not given it any reason to tamper with the concurrent findings of the two lower courts. The court, in relying on its previous decisions to the effect that where the decision of a trial court on the demeanor of a party or witness is supported by the documentary evidence tendered, an appellate court has no business in tampering with the decision of the court. Mr. Atuche, his wife Elizabeth, and one Mr. Ugo Anyanwu had been arraigned by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in 2011 before Justice Latifat Okono of the Lagos High Court on a 27-count amended information over a 25.7 billion naira fraud. To security now, and the Edo State Police Command says it has arrested a suspect in connection with the killing of 22-year-old Gloria Adekulure, whose lifeless body was found under a tree on a street near her house in Iowa Community, Edo State, on June the 14th, after she went missing on the evening of June the 13th. The Commissioner of Police, Edo State, Funsho Adigwe, who disclosed this to Channels Television this evening, Friday, said the suspected killer was arrested in Asaba, Delta State, this week. According to Mr. Adegboye, the suspect confessed to having 8 other victims, one of whom narrowly survived his attack. The police say the identity of Glory's suspected killer is being kept under wraps for now, as investigation toward unraveling his cohorts continue. Glory was a final-year student of chemistry department in the University of Benin. She was on her way home from school where she had gone to submit her project when she reportedly disappeared.
I'm happy to inform the good people of Edo State and the good people of Nigeria that the killer of Glory Adekolure, a 22-year-old final-year chemistry student of the University of Ibadan, has been apprehended. University of Benin has been apprehended. He was apprehended in Asaba, Delta State. After killing Glory, he ran away. He was aware we are trailing him, and due to the painstaking investigations of our anti-kidnapping and cybercrime unit, not only physical investigations, technically induced investigations. He was arrested in Asaba. He confessed not only to the killing of Glory Adekolure, but to the killing of 8 other similar ladies, women, all the 8. He confessed. It's quite shocking, it's scary, very baffling, and it calls for parents to monitor their words.
To electoral matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it cannot conduct area council elections in the Federal Capital Territory until 2026, when the tenure of the incumbent chairman and councillors will come to an end. The chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, stated this at a meeting with members of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, in Abuja. The IPAC members had approached INEC to seek clarifications on the tenure of the 6 area council chairmen and their councillors.
Chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, is leading a delegation of some political party officials to a meeting with the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. The IPAC delegation is here to seek clarification on the tenure of the incumbent area council chairman and councillors in the Federal Capital Territory.
This meeting is a very short meeting that I first have to thank the chairman of the commission at short notice for giving us this audience to clarify issues around the tenure of office of elected officials in the Federal Capital Territory. I still deem it necessary to invite the Inter-Party Advisory Council, General Assembly of the FCT, to come with me to the commission for first-hand information about the state of the status of the tenure of the elected officials in FCT, and that is why we are here.
There has been a raging debate among some political parties who believe that the current area council chairman and the councillors who were elected in 2022 cannot benefit from the 2022 electoral law, which extended the tenure of area council elected officials from 2 years to 4 years. The INEC chairman clarifies why the electoral body will have to wait till 2026 before conducting another election in the FCT.
For the Federal Capital Territory, the National Assembly extended the tenure of the area councils from 3 to 4 years, thereby aligning it with executive and legislative elections nationwide. This is one of the important provisions of the Electoral Act 2022. By the time the elected chairman and councillors were sworn in, 4 months later, on 14 June 2022, they took their oath of allegiance and oath of office on the basis of the new Electoral Act, the Electoral Act 2022, which provides for a 4-year tenure Consequently, their tenure expires in June 2026.
INEC had in 2022 conducted elections for 6 area council chairmen and 62 councillors in the Federal Capital Territory. The Commission maintains that the next round of elections will come after the expiration of the incumbent officials in June 2026.
In part 2 after the break, Academic Staff Union of Universities holds town hall in Jos, continues consultations ahead of its planned strike, also appeals to the federal government to meet their demands before it's too late. Please stay with us.
My skin is my identity, my strength. It's unique and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, enriched with 95% pure vitamin C and pulp extract. For visibly radiant and even-toned skin in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, for your shade of beautiful.
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Taj Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 Naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba Savings Account with Taj Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
The future belongs to the dreamers, to the doers, to those who are not afraid of the side hustle. It's for those who are ready to turn their passion into something big. And to help keep you revitalized and inspired, Top Tea is with you every step of the way. You are made for more. Find your inspiration. Top Tea, big round bags of flavor.
New Rexona Advanced Protection Roll-On. For all-day, non-stop protection from sweat and odor. Keeps on working all day. Stay dry and fresh for longer. Try Rexona. It won't let you down.
We all want a good life. To do the things that give us the most joy. To reach for the things we want and get them. To move our feet and go where our hearts take us. To become who we've always thought we were. To break free from the ordinary and live life to the fullest.
The good life is not a destination, it's a journey. Verve, Africa's premier payment card, is the passport that keeps you moving from good life to good life. Ask your bank for a Verve card today.
The Duchess International Hospital caters to every aspect of the family's health needs. A one-stop shop for maternity and child health services, emergency medicine and critical care, medical and surgical subspecialties, dental and eye care, and a range of other subspecialties and services, all available at a single location right here in the heart of Ikeja. And it really doesn't matter if you're paying out of pocket using your HMO or private insurance. We focus completely on providing that world-class affordable healthcare for all the family at all times.
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Taj Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 Naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba Savings Account with Taj Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. It's work in progress as PEBEC's 120 days action plan reveals that some MDAs are still struggling with the implementation of the regulatory reforms of the current administration. At the same PEBEC event, Vice President Kashim Shettima scores public sector reforms high, says the project has achieved 80% collective success. After about 13 years of trial, the Supreme Court upholds the conviction of Mr. Francis Atuche, former managing director of the defunct bank PHB PLC. And NAFDAC cracks down on drug peddlers and users in Kano, destroys substances worth about ₦1 billion. And Americans have been reacting to the first televised presidential debate of the election campaign, where Joe Biden frequently appeared to stumble and lose his way. The political pressure has continued to gather momentum in Rivers State as the governor's supporters and supporters of the FCT minister engage in power play. Some hours after the Rivers Leaders Forum, led by Mr. Olakawogu, threw their support behind the FCT minister Nyesom Wike, another group known as the Simplicity Movement, led by the former governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement, Subomabo Jack Rich, is pledging their support for Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Our River State correspondent Deborah Agbalama reports.
This crowd marching around Buguma, the headquarters of Asari Toro local government area, are members of the Simplicity Movement. They say they are marching in solidarity with Governor Siminalayi Fubara, who they believe should be given the time to govern the people of the state. They dance as they walk round the streets of Buguma. Speaking at the event, the headliners of the movement, the 2023 governorship candidate of the National Rescue Movement, NRM, Soboma Jakarich, and Orolo Sama Amakri, caretaker committee chairman of Asari Toro local government area, gave reasons for supporting the governor.
If the governor says support us, we will support them and we will strengthen the forces to make sure that no people talk carelessly. We ask them for Calabar area, say people they talk anyhow. Well, on our nose we they do for here, we don't see big men, small men, but they run, they come back. Now see big. We will go do what we go do, but Calabar in our place, and Calabar people are wise enough to know that. Calabar will open vistas of opportunity to us. No, the rest of the land don't skyrocket to some places. They don't even do start ourselves. So that means economic growth. You know, the people are not like to support bad thing. If you do any, I think go do any, which is not true. Look, say this man, a better man. I need to work with her. The vision I get, now the vision we get.
Others also speak about the situation in the state.
Siminalayi Fubara is indeed capable of handling the intricate administrative demands of Rivers State as a governor. Hence, I resolve to give him our maximum support and cooperation.
We support you as I want to no be pankiko, no be no songo. It's real. So carry on. CDC chairman tells him he has followers, he has support.
On Monday, June 24, former LGA chairman in 21 local government areas of the state and other supporters staged a solidarity march to affirm their support for the FCT minister. The lingering political crisis in Rivers State has given birth to protests and solidarity marches from both Governor Siminalayi Fubara's supporters and those of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. For citizens of the state, only a peaceful atmosphere will result to proper governance, and this is the wish of many of them as they appeal for truce amongst the gladiators. Deborah Balama, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, amid the crisis rocking Rivers, a former First Lady, Mrs. Patience Jonathan, has urged the two warring parties in the state to give peace a chance. Mrs. Jonathan made the request at the 60th anniversary of the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations International Colloquium in Abuja. Speaking on the theme, Public Relations, Value Reorientation and Economic Transformation, the former First Lady urged the warring parties to allow the present administration of Rivers State to run smoothly without interference. For decades, the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, have consistently engaged each other over payment of salaries and allowances, and in most cases, there are deadlocks as agreements are hardly reached, leading to strikes. That scenario may just play out again as ASU gears up for a likely showdown with the federal government. At the University of Jos branch, ASU is calling governments to urgently attend to the union's pressing issues to avert a national strike. Members say they want the lingering issues between ASU and the federal government addressed as quickly as possible. This happened during a town hall meeting in the Plateau State capital.
University of Jos branch of the Academic Staff Union of Universities convened a town hall where sister unions in the university, student union governments, parents, trade unions and other concerned groups converged to sensitize the public on government's seeming discouraging attitude towards the union's demands. Some of the union's demands include a revisit of anti-masses policies, exiting the union from the IPPIS payment platform, a return to the negotiation table, and the signing of the NIMI Briggs report.
We were called for an emergency NEC, where we holistically reviewed the issues, looked at our stance, and we decided there that we will give government a further 4 weeks. 2 weeks of that have gone. And that we will come back and engage you, members of the general public. The problem is not a problem of ASU alone. Education is a right of every Nigerian. In fact, it is so constitutionally provided that government shall ensure equal access to education to all Nigerians.
Other demands are the payment of 35-month salaries and accumulated earned academic allowances, which was captured in the 2023 budget, as well as the release of revitalization funds captured in the 2023 budget, reinstatement of the governing council, illegally dissolved, payment of arrears of promotion and responsibility allowances, and the payment of backlog of salaries to members omitted by the IPPIS payment platform. Panelists drawn from the university community also contribute to the discourse with references to some of the issues.
Recently, there have been 2 lists of members of council. The first one was thrown out because people complained it didn't reflect Nigerian character, federal character. Somebody counted 15 members of council from one state. Now, ASU protested and others did too, and the list was withdrawn. There is a second list, and it's full of politicians, most of whom know next to nothing about university. Elsewhere, the members of council, they raise funds for the university, and that doesn't happen here. The postgraduate school here in the University of Jos is the only example I know that the person who was chairman of the governing council then donated to the university.
In my own discipline, we are supposed to have accounting labs. We need to bring those experiences to the classroom. So the labs should be equipped with laptops, with desktop, with software, with accounting books, and the rest for them to see the practicals, what happens in the banking industry, in the insurance industry, in short, all the financial sectors. They are supposed to have hands-on experience while they are here with us to graduate, but that is not happening. We don't have such right now. And you say, oh, did you ask for? We did ask for. And each time accreditation came, it was like a makeshift that is being done to be able to get the full accreditation.
With few weeks remaining on the ultimatum given by the Academic Staff Union of Universities to the government to address lingering issues, there is the need for all parties concerned to find an amicable resolution in order to avert another disruption of academic activities in the campuses.
It appears a new minimum wage that will be agreeable to all may take more time than expected to become a reality if the words of the Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi are anything to go by. This is because the state is awaiting the final outcome of consultations with the federal government on the bill, after which it will return to all stakeholders to deliberate and agree on its own figure. Governor Namadi, who was a guest on our breakfast program Sunrise Daily, did not commit to a figure on what his state could afford, saying his peers at the Nigerian Governors Forum agreed that each state should negotiate with their workers and come up with their own figures. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the NLC, has kicked against suggestions that governors should determine the workers' minimum wage. A statement issued by Labour's head of Information and Public Affairs, Benson Upa, says this is not only dictatorial, but against the concept of the new minimum wage. The NLC also contends that it may no longer be able to withstand the pressure for industrial action yet again should the minimum wage issue continue to be prolonged. Still ahead on the news at 10. Nigeria's FX reserves rise for the fourth consecutive week to $34.14 billion. That's on Business News. Please join us again.
What did happen for here? We went for manager, make us pay us our money. No work. Manager, what's happening here? Manager, why you hide? They don't allow me to go back. They say I go run. Manager, why you no use first money wallet bulk payment? Pay them now. Not true. Yes.
Amuna, calm down. Oh yeah, make una bring out una phone. Dial *894*1# to open your first money wallet. This money, it be like raw cash, you fit withdraw them, pay bills, or even transfer themselves. I don't pay all of you now. I beg you 5 goza for first money wallet.
Enjoy the unlimited life with First Money Wallet. Dial *894*1# on any mobile phone to activate now. You first. First Bank.
Nivea Pearl and Beauty Deodorant. With natural pearl extracts and avocado oils for soft, smooth, and beautiful underarms. The perfect balance of 48-hour protection and care with delicate fragrances. Feel the power of pearls. Nivea Pearl and Beauty for soft, smooth, and beautiful underarms. Try our new Pearl and Beauty Black Pearl for smooth and perfumed underarms.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
Yes, you can. And you can do it now with Touch Bank. Open an account with as little as 500 Naira and earn profits with the Mudaraba Savings Account with Touch Bank. Enjoy zero account maintenance, withdraw as many times as possible, and still get profit. Offer is open to both new and existing customers. Open an account by downloading the Tajway app on Play Store, the Apple Store, or walk into any Taj Bank branch closest to you. Taj Bank, our only interest is you.
Welcome back. Let's now head to the nation's capital, and Terry Kumi is on standby to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Over to you, Terry.
Well, thank you very much, Ayo. The Federal Capital Territory Fire Service has traced last night's fire incident at the Karu Market to electricity surge. The head of operations at the service, Mr. Additional Abuye, gave the updates during an assessment of the damage of the market. He explains that the surge occurred when electricity was restored in the market. Our correspondent, Benny Ark, reports.
It's the morning after at the Karu Market in Abuja Municipal Area Council. Karu is a densely populated suburb. The market is a popular shopping destination, attracting customers from Abuja and neighboring states. Some hours to midnight on Thursday, parts of the market went up in flames. Rescue operations continued into the night and was concluded in the early hours on Friday. The cause of the fire is traced to electricity surge.
Eyewitness, what I heard was that the fire happens about 20 minutes after they restored power. So one would think that it might be very close to power surge or something that has to do with that. But the issue is that that particular side is an unstructured part. And when you build shops and stores closely together that you do not have access, it becomes an issue, even for people to evacuate their goods should in case of emergency. And that is what has happened there.
Traders who have suffered losses in the inferno are tallying additional damages.
We closed from market around 6:30 yesterday. I reached house, Mama. I reached house around after 7. My auntie called me that they say Karu Market caught fire. And I called my husband, come, let's go. Before I reach here, my 2 shops have burned already. I opened the 3rd one. I cannot see anybody to help me. I was struggling. I cannot carry his bag and bees, all this in I said. I'm tired. I don't know where to start from.
How much did you get?
It's over 10 million. Don't do. Over 10 million. I'm seeing it wasting. Over 10 million.
As you can see, there are a lot of damages that has caused here in the market. Currently, nobody can quantify the extent it has gone, but seriously in billions. In billions, because as you can see behind here, these are market where we sell beans and other grains. So many things here has gone lost. And then the major problem is, for me, is from both sides, both the marketers and then the government.
The full extent of the damage caused by the fire is still being evaluated. However, it's evident that the fire has had a significant negative impact on the community. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the Karu Market fire has drawn the sympathy of President Bola Tinubu. A statement issued by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngelale, says the president, who received the news with deep sadness, extends his heartfelt sympathies to all affected by the distressing incident. The president, who assures the victims of his administration's full support, is however urging caution and adherence to essential safety measures to prevent fire outbreaks and other incidents. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Kano Zone, is clamping down on drug peddlers and users as the agency destroys seized drugs worth about 1 billion naira. The destruction exercise was carried out after a meeting with concerned officials on the need to safeguard the public health by ensuring that food and drug items are of standard quality and safe for consumption. Channels correspondent Nanchin Vincent reports that the Kano State government was also there and reaffirmed its commitment to fighting all forms of drug abuse.
This gathering in Kano State, hosted by NAFDAC Kano Zone, brings together stakeholders from the health and industrial sectors. It is part of NAFDAC's strategy to eliminate fake drugs and expired regulated products from circulation in Nigeria. Among the items destroyed by burning are fake medicines, unwholesome food products, cosmetics, and other unsafe products seized by NAFDAC, as well as those voluntarily submitted by stakeholders such as the Pharmaceutical Association of Nigeria and the Nigeria Customs Service. The total value of these destroyed items amounts to 985,302,290 naira. Director General of NAFDAC, who was represented by Josephine Dayelim, Director of Northwest Zone, is optimistic the destruction exercise will strengthen its several regulatory efforts against fake drugs and substandard products.
As we destroy, we're removing fake, counterfeit, and substandard products from circulation so that they will not reach the hands of unsuspecting Nigerians, which they will use and will cause them harm. And of course, we know that these products are very dangerous. So with time, we have gathered them and we're destroying them today. It's a testament of the fact that NAFDAC is working.
Kano State Commissioner for Health, who represented the Kano State Governor, Abba Yusuf, applauded the synergy between NAFDAC and the state's task force to tackle the menace of drug and substance abuse.
The task force has memberships from the NAFDAC, NDLE, as well as PCN. Consumer protection is also part of the task force of Kano State. Our HISBA committees, they're also here to form a very formidable committee that sanitize the drug business in Kano.
Chairman of the Pharmaceutical Association of Nigeria highlighted how fake drugs contribute to death from illnesses, with a call for more stringent measures if drug abuse must end.
One of the leading causes of death now is death from treatment failure. A lot of medications were taken, they are falsified. And it's a big industry. Globally, it's more than $400 billion. And there is so much incentive for these people to do this. And we feel the government should make sure that the punishment is more than the incentive.
NAFDAC is appealing to corporate bodies, religious leaders, and traditional leaders to collaborate with the agency in its mission to safeguard the health of Nigerians. From Kano Commercial City, Nanchin Vincent, Channels Television News.
103 Nigerian deportees from Turkey have arrived at the Pilgrims Wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport aboard a Southwind Airline flight number TCGRB at about 6:45 p.m., where they were received by representatives of multiple agencies. At this moment, it is unclear whether they committed any offense in Turkey to warrant their deportation. The angry Nigerian deportees narrated their treatment, alleging that they were unfairly treated in a European country. According to them, they were detained by the Turkish authorities for over 11 months before being deported. The deportees are asking the Nigerian government to fight for them and reclaim all their valuables. And that's all from the nation's capital. Next is business news with Willie Bong.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Terry, and welcome to Business News. Nigeria's FX reserves rose for the fourth consecutive week as gross levels increased further by over $442 million to $34.14 billion. According to the data from the central bank quoted as of June the 27th, the external reserves hit the highest levels last seen since March after plunging to a low of $32.1 billion on April the 19th. This rise is attributed to increased oil earnings and a possible receipt of part of the IMF's development policy financing loan. The UK economy that's outside our shores grew by 0.7%. That's faster than expected in the first quarter of 2024, according to the UK's Office for National Statistics. The country's GDP increased, as I said earlier, 0.7% in the first quarter, up from an initial estimate of 0.6%. Several sectors experienced growth, with services up by 0.8% and production by 0.6%, while construction fell by a similar margin. This development comes just days before the UK's general election on July the 4th, and after inflation had dropped to 2% in May. Back home, the domestic equities market closed the final trading day in June in positive territory as the all-share index regained the 100,000 level following a 7% rise in MTN Nigeria. Dominic Iwiwu tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. I'm Dominic Iwiwu. A great way to end the month of June as bullish sentiments permeated the NGX today. The market added 374 billion naira to close at 56.601 trillion. And we could see the all-share index finally hitting the 100,000 points to close at 100,057 points. A slight growth of 0.67%. Interesting details looking at the sectors. The banking sector was up 1.72%. Thanks to GTCO and penny stocks in the insurance, which drove this. The consumer goods, on the other hand, dropped 0.17%, largely driven by profit-taking in Guinness, as it lost 3 naira to close at 67 kobo, while the oil and gas sector remains slightly up. The activity chart is mostly in the red. Only deals increased compared to Thursday's trade. As you can see, volume 510 million at a value of 9.88 billion. And this is the only increment, 7,945 deals. In summary, there were 34 gainers, 10 losers. This brought the bull to the floor.
Thank you, Dominic. We do hope the bull stays on the floor of the exchange. Now, in the U.S., stocks ticked lower on Friday as traders digested personal consumption expenditures price index data that indicated slowing inflation as well as consumer sentiment figures. Let's check out their numbers and those.
Banking, so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you so much, Will. U.S. President Joe Biden has hit back at critics over his age. He admits he is not a young man and has vowed to stay in the race for the White House. Addressing supporters at his campaign rally in Raleigh, North Carolina, Mr. Biden pushed back at concerns over his performance at last night's debate without conceding any of the weak reviews. Here's Sam Apuzi with other international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Americans have been reacting to the first televised presidential debate of the election campaign, where Joe Biden frequently appeared to stumble and lose his way. While Republican candidate Donald Trump faces criticism for the number of falsehoods he uttered, much of the attention has been focused on the current president's poor performance.
Person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Biden appeared to struggle in several of his answers. As a result, concerns about his age and mental fitness have only risen further.
Relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
some Democrats have even asked after the debate whether the president could be replaced as the party's presidential candidate.
I think he looked a little sluggish when he came out, but as the night went on, I think he really kind of rose to the occasion. It's going to be a very, very difficult night. It was a bare-knuckles brawl, but I'm proud of the fact that he stood up to Donald Trump and the mistruths that he told, and he tried to lay his plan out for the American people.
Well, I think my reaction is that President Trump had a very strong performance that I think America saw. If they saw the challenges that Joe Biden had just delivering a message, and he didn't have an answer on inflation, he didn't have an answer on the border.
A roof at Delhi airport has collapsed after heavy rain, killing one person and injuring 4 others. Videos online show huge pillars supporting the roof smashing into cars parked along the airport's Terminal 1. All flights from the terminal have been temporarily suspended and check-in counters have been closed. The incident took place at 5 a.m. Rescue operations are underway at the airport and the injured are being treated in hospitals. India's aviation regulator has advised airlines to accommodate passengers on alternate flights or offer them refunds. The accident has impacted travel plans of thousands as most domestic flights take off from Terminal 1. Kenya's High Court has approved the use of military force to restore order following days of anti-tax protests that at some point overwhelmed police. More than 20 people have reportedly been killed in the nationwide protests that are largely led by young people opposed to government plans to increase taxes. Armoured military vehicles patrolled streets in the capital, Nairobi, on Thursday as police fired tear gas to disperse protesters who had threatened to storm the presidential palace. A judge said that the military deployment was critical to protect government installations, but gave authorities 2 days to clarify how long the deployment would last. Officials say 7 people have been killed and 5 injured after an international express train collided with a bus on a level crossing in southern Slovakia. The Slovak ambulance service said all those who died had been travelling on the bus. They had been badly burnt in the subsequent fire, and it was proving difficult to identify their remains. The accident happened near the town of Nowy Zamki, around 80 kilometres east of the capital Bratislava, just after 5 p.m. local time. About 200 people were on the train and 9 on the bus at the time of the collision. 3 employees of subsidiaries of HYBE, the agency behind K-pop superstars BTS, have been charged with insider trading by South Korean prosecutors. They're being accused of selling shares in the agency before BTS members announced they were taking a break on the 14th of June 2022. The announcement sent HYBE shares plunging 25% when markets opened, resulting in a loss in market value of nearly $1.4 billion. The prosecutors said the 3 employees acted with prior knowledge of what was about to happen. And a huge sinkhole has opened up on a football field in Alton's Gordon Moore Park in southern Illinois, swallowing a light pole, benches and artificial turf. Here you can see the moment the earth dramatically caves in, captured on security video. The hole was caused by subsidence from nearby underground limestone mining and measures at least 100 feet wide and up to 50 feet deep. No one was injured. Surrounding roads and the park are now closed, and the mining company has reported the hole to the Mine Safety Health Administration. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. It's time now for some sports news, and Kelly Egiga is standing by for the latest. Kelly?
Many thanks indeed, Aya. In the world of sports, she is Nigeria's 100 meters hurdles world record holder, Tobi Amusho, and she has been cleared to run in the Paris Olympic Games after the Court of Arbitration for Sports CAS dismissed appeals against the decision to clear her on a doping offense earlier today. Amusho was charged in July 2023 with missing 3 anti-doping tests in 12 months, but was cleared by the offense by the disciplinary tribunal of the sports governing body. However, the World Athletics and the World Anti-Doping Agency have now appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport against that decision. Let's talk football now, shall we? The CAF Confederation Cup ticket is what is at stake as 2 Nigerian Premier Football League clubs, El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri and Abia Warriors, do battle in Nigeria's oldest cup competition, the President Federation Cup final at the Molaji Johnson Arena in Oniko here in Lagos. Abia Warriors triumphed against Kano Pillars 4-3 on penalties to advance to this year's final, while El Kanemi also defeated Kebbi United 5-4 on penalties to progress. Before the final scheduled for 4 p.m., the women's final will see Niger Rattles FC of Abuja take on 8-time champions Rivers Angels of Port Harcourt in the women's championship match holding at 1 p.m. Let's turn our attention now to the Euros after a 2-day break. Well, the championship round of 16 returns with host nation Germany taking on Denmark. And for coach Julian Nagelsmann, the support from fans has inspired the hosts to continue their Euros run in 2024. The 3-time winners of the competition have struggled in recent editions with group stage exits at the past 2 World Cups. But so far, they have won the hearts of home fans who are confident of lifting the trophy on home soil. Meanwhile, Denmark coach Kasper Holtmann says host nation Germany should expect a tough fight from the Danes as they are eager to book a spot in the quarterfinals of the competition. Denmark finished second in their group behind England after drawing each of their 3 group games, which earned them a meeting with Germany, who won 2 and drew 1 in the pool stage.
Intention has always been to be on the front foot and try to score the next goal in the match. And I think it's very clear, if you look at the matches, that that's our aim. It's not only the strikers. It's like the same goes for if we concede too many goals, it's not only the defenders or the goalie, it's a team effort. And I think the way we have been servicing Rasmus has not been the best. He has been in the box at the right times. He has been really at the right time in the right space. So it's all about our way to create bigger chances, not only to Rasmus but to all of the players.
In tennis now, Daria Kasatkina will battle Leila Fernandez for the Eastbourne International WTA title after reaching the final of the Wimbledon warm-up event for the second straight year. The 6th seed Kasatkina came from behind to defeat Jasmine Paolini 3-6, 7-5, 6-3 in her semi-final on England's South Coast earlier today. She now faces Fernandez, beaten in the 2021 US Open final by Emma Raducanu, with the Canadian bidding for a 4th title in her career.
Last year's runner-up reaches the final again in Eastbourne. How well she played down the stretch, how well she needed to play to see off the effervescent Jasmine Paolini, who will leave Eastbourne with more confidence on this surface than she arrived with. But it is the 6th seed, Daria Kasatkina.
And that's your sports news tonight. I am Kelly Egiga. It's back to Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. The Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, has revealed that its 120-day action plan has also revealed that some MDAs are still struggling with the implementation of the regulatory reforms of the current administration. But this was made known in the nation's capital of Abuja. At the same PEBEC event, Vice President Kashim Shettima has scored the public sector reforms high and says the project has achieved 80% collective success. After about 13 years of trial, the Supreme Court has upheld the conviction of Mr. Francis Atuche, a former managing director of the defunct bank PHB PLC. And the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has cracked down on drug peddlers and users in Kano, destroying substances worth about ₦1 billion. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun from all of us here. So have a good night and please stay safe.